Good morning, Guardians. Briar Rabbit here. Over the last 2 years, microtransactions have been creeping into the game we love. At first, it started with purely cosmetic items, masks, and emotes. Some players complained and some warned of the slippery slope microtransactions led down toward pay to win. But now, with this week's Iron Banner release, Bungie has released a direct pay-for-gear model in the form of Lord Saladin's dusty iron engrams. And this, to me, represents the final precipice before Destiny goes full-on pay-to-win, and may have already crossed the line in some players' minds. For players who have not heard the term or are unsure of its meaning, pay-to-win is a game allowing players to spend real-life currency for an in-game advantage. The most egregious examples of this would actually offer an advantage not available through other means. For example, a weapon that was only available through real currency purchase that was clearly more powerful than other weapons in the game. That would be pay to win. But that's not what we have in Destiny. There is no weapon in the game that can be purchased with out-of-game currency, so we're good, right? That's true, and I believe there never should be, but I do feel the game we love is heading in that direction. To show why, I'd like to take a look at the history of the microtransactions in Destiny. It started in the Taken King with the addition of the Eververse Trading Company, who sold cosmetic items like masks and emotes. Purely cosmetic, no in-game effects whatsoever. This type of microtransaction, in my opinion, is great. It gives players some cool stuff to show off, some funny masks, some new dance moves. No advantage in-game, no problem. But even then, with the addition of this new in-game transaction, many players, myself included, were wary. Cosmetic items are fine, just don't go any further. In April, Bungie went further. With the introduction of sterling treasures, players had an avenue to pay, though indirect, for advantages in-game. This came in two ways. First, players could receive reputation boosts in the sterling treasures that would increase the speed at which they could rank up the Vanguard, Crucible, and House of Judgment factions. These factions, once ranked up, would drop a package that could contain some of the best weapons in the game. Think Lord High Fixer, LDR, or the Longbow Synthesis. Weapons with an extremely low drop rate. By using reputation boosters, players would rank up more often and have more chances to get some of the best weapons in the game. The second was by adding Spectre and Desolate armor to sterling treasures. For the most part, this armor only offered cosmetic differences to the other armors found in the game. However, there are stats like intellect, strength, and discipline tied to each armor piece, and a player could, through the purchase of sterling treasures, repeatedly purchase armor until a set with the stats they were looking for dropped. Now, for the most part, players actually didn't have an issue with the addition of sterling treasures in the April update. One of the big reasons for this was that they were so readily available in-game. Players got 1 for free per week just for logging in and 3 per week for playing the game. Reputation boosts were common. Spectre and Desolate gear dropped relatively regularly, so sure, you could pay to get more, but after the first month or so, players found that they had an overabundance of this stuff anyway, so there was no real reason to purchase sterling treasures, and players didn't see it as pay to win. Enter the Radiant Treasure, Silver Dust, and the Dusty Iron Engram. In Rise of Iron, Bungie added Radiant Treasures. Radiant Treasures can contain 3 things: new ornaments to change the look of weapons or armor, Silver Dust, and reputation boosters. For the most part, I have zero issue with Bungie selling ornaments. They are cosmetic, change nothing gameplay-wise, and represent value or don't based on how the player perceives it. I think they're exorbitantly priced, so I stay away, but money has different values to different people. Silver Dust is a bit frustrating, though. Silver Dust can be obtained in 2 ways, either by breaking down ornaments or by purchasing Radiant Treasures. And where this really gets under my skin is what you do with the silver dust. There are items in game that can only be bought with silver dust. Sure, you can get a little silver dust each week by playing the game, but by looking at how much of it you need to use for purchases in game, it is clear that one per week is not sufficient. For example, equipping an ornament on the free armor earned through the Rise of Iron record book costs 5 silver dust each. But whatever, that's all cosmetic, and while I think it's expensive, I don't really have an issue there. What I do take issue with is the use of silver dust to buy dusty iron engrams. With the return of Iron Banner, Lord Saladin began selling dusty iron engrams, which can be bought with 5 silver dust. These engrams, once decrypted, turn into armor. Specifically, Iron Banner armor that cosmetically looks like a year 1 set. So a player can simply buy a shitload of radiant treasures, dismantle the ornaments, and use the resulting silver dust to buy a full set of Iron Banner armor without ever stepping foot into the Iron Banner. And depending on how much money the player wants to spend, can sit there and buy a tier 12 set of armor. Granted, RNG means that would cost a damn bundle, but it could be done. A player could purchase items in-game that gives them an advantage. This, to me, looks like a pretty direct and very expensive pay-to-win situation. Look, I love this game and greatly admire the designers, the artists, the community managers, hell, everybody that has a hand in making Destiny. I think they're doing a great job, and in my eyes, the game just keeps getting better with each expansion. And I don't want to deny Bungie the right to make money. Money that goes toward developing Destiny 2 and paying its employees. I want Bungie to be damn successful. I want to see these guys making so much money they don't know what to do with it. I want to see the parking lot filled with Range Rovers and Lambos so that everybody in the gaming industry knows that Bungie is the place to work, and when they hire new employees, they can choose from the absolute best. But I also don't want pay to win in Destiny. Right now, it's super light and very indirect. But every time we see a new major update or expansion, they seem to push it further and further. How far is it until Lord Saladin starts selling weapons for silver dust? Seems like the next logical step. How far are we from purchasing Vault of Glass raid gear or bypassing rep boosters and using silver dust to rank up factions directly? This type of transaction could really hurt the game. If there was ever even one really good weapon for sale through real-world currency, something like the Grasp of Malice, players would flock to it and buy multiples to get the role they wanted. And then, to be competitive, other players would feel forced to do the same, or they would simply abandon the game because it got too expensive. This is the path that Destiny seems to be on, and it scares me. But what can we do about it? That's easy. Stop buying microtransactions that you feel promote pay to win. Emotes, sparrows, in-game filters, fuck it, go nuts. But if we, as a community, support Radiant Treasures, Bungie has no choice but to continue down this road. It just financially makes sense. But if we vote with our dollar and we say, no, that's too far, financially, it will make more sense for them to course correct and look in other directions for revenue. Like a Bruce Lee Enter the Dragon emote. That would be worth paying for. That's going to do it for this episode, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you have a topic you'd like to see covered in an upcoming show, tweet me with the hashtag GoodMorningGuardians. Thank you very much for watching. Hit that like button if you like the video. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.